What if you built a bridge across the Atlantic? Imagine waking up to a breaking news alert. World governments approve construction of first ever transatlantic bridge, a 5,000-kilometer highway connecting New York and Paris. It sounds like science fiction, but let's say the world actually decided to do it. What would happen? First, we need to understand how unbelievably massive this project would be. The Atlantic Ocean is not just wide, it's deep, unpredictable, and dangerous. The average depth is 3,600 meters, with trenches plunging to over 8,000 meters. Storms can spawn winds over 200 kilometers per hour, and waves taller than buildings. Building a fixed bridge, one anchored to the seafloor, is physically impossible in many places. So engineers propose a more radical solution: a floating bridge, also known as a pontoon bridge. This has been done on a small scale, like the 2.3-kilometer Evergreen Point floating bridge in Seattle, but never across an ocean. It would consist of giant concrete pontoons, each as long as a football field, chained to the ocean floor at regular intervals. Every 50 to 100 kilometers, there would be artificial islands, essentially giant service stations, where drivers could rest, refuel, or get emergency assistance. The bridge would likely have 6 to 8 lanes, 3 or 4 in each direction, to handle both commercial freight and private vehicles. A dedicated high-speed lane could even allow automated shuttles or cargo pods to travel non-stop between continents at over 300 kilometers per hour, slashing shipping times. The cost? Estimates range from $15 to $25 trillion, depending on the design. That's more than the annual GDP of the entire European Union. But, in theory, if every country on both sides of the Atlantic invested over the next 30 years, it could happen, especially with private investors and megacorporations involved. Think Amazon wanting faster global logistics, or Tesla building the first electric vehicle corridor over the ocean. Let's say they actually build it. What happens next? First, life changes overnight for entire industries. Transatlantic shipping, which currently takes 7 to 10 days by cargo ship, could be reduced to 15 hours by truck. Fresh food, medicine, and tech components could travel across the ocean in a single shift. Tourism explodes. Families pack up their SUVs in New Jersey and head off on a road trip to Europe. College students take gap-year drives from Canada to Spain. Freight companies abandon ports in favor of direct trucking routes. Customs and immigration, they're handled digitally at checkpoints on the artificial islands. Entire cities emerge along the route, small floating hubs that function like oceanic pit stops. They have hotels, restaurants, drone ports, even medical clinics. Some turn into tax havens. Others host research labs and ocean cleanup stations. Energy could be harvested from wind turbines and wave motion along the route. But of course, problems appear. First, the environmental cost. A project this size would disrupt marine ecosystems on a scale never seen before. Migration paths of whales and fish would be altered. The shadows cast by pontoons could affect plankton blooms. Anchors might damage fragile seafloor habitats. Oil spills from trucks, tire debris, and pollution would threaten the water. Second, security. A structure stretching across the Atlantic would be a high-value target for cyber attacks, terrorism, piracy, or rogue drones. What happens if a truck carrying hazardous chemicals crashes in the middle of the ocean? Emergency response might be hours away. Third, weather. Parts of the bridge could be closed for days due to storms. Maintaining a 5,000-kilometer floating structure requires an international army of technicians, engineers, and AI systems running 24/7. Annual maintenance costs could reach hundreds of billions. And yet, the benefits remain tempting. It would create millions of jobs during construction and decades after. It would become the most efficient, zero-carbon trade route in history, assuming it's electrified. It could even serve as a platform for clean energy generation and deep-sea research. The bridge would symbolize a new era of global cooperation, a literal connection between continents, cultures, and economies. But maybe the most profound change would be psychological. If humans could build this, a literal bridge across an ocean, what couldn't we do next? Mars doesn't feel so far after all.